Welcome into the show today. Thank you for making this podcast a part of your day. I'm fired up and I'm ready to go. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube or wherever you are listening and watching this podcast. Okay. The Minnesota Vikings news keeps on getting more controversial by the day because the insiders, the big boys, the Ian Rappaports, the Tom Pelissaros, the Jordan Schultzes, the Mike Garafolos, the Adam Schefters, they are aligned on the exact same thing, and they have been for the last several days. And that is the Minnesota Vikings want to bring back Sam Darnold and have a quarterback competition alongside their rookie, J.J. McCarthy. Now, the question that we are going to answer on this podcast today is why do the Vikings want two quarterbacks, Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy, on the same roster when one of them is not going to start? Pretty simple. If J.J. McCarthy wins the job, why do they want Sam Darnold on the roster? If Sam Darnold wins the job, do they really want to wait another year to start J.J. McCarthy? So here's what's going down. The Minnesota Vikings, it appears, want both quarterbacks on their roster so they can have a QB competition. And here's the deal with QB competitions. People glush at the idea of competition. Oh, we've got a competition for this quarterback spot. Oh, there's a competition for this defensive tackle or offensive line position. And I actually turn the other way when I hear competition. When I hear that there's a quarterback competition, I actually think it's one of the worst things for an NFL organization. And the reason being is that there is one player or one position that is clearly not showcasing that they have a superior athlete or superior player. And there's no more important position in the NFL than having a superior quarterback. So when I hear the word quarterback competition, and everyone loves it, everyone gushes, everyone's excited about the competition, you know, who's going to get the spot, who earned it, my mind goes to, when you're an elite player, you don't need a quarterback competition. The best teams in the league every single year do not have a competition at the quarterback position. Because what that tells me is that there's clearly not a superior option going into the regular season. The Chiefs, no way in heck do they have a competition. The Rams, no way. The Eagles, no way. The Packers, no way. The best teams in the league do not have a quarterback competition. So when I hear that the Vikings want to bring back Darnold and McCarthy to have a competition at the quarterback spot this offseason, I get it. Competition drives more motivation and brings out the best in athletes. But going back to my same point, when you are a superior athlete and you are clearly the best, you don't need competition to bring out the best in you. You are already the best. So I hate the idea of a QB competition bringing out the best because the best teams in the league don't do that, which tells me that Darnold and McCarthy are not superior quarterbacks in the league, and that's a problem. But going back to the Vikings wanting Darnold and McCarthy back, like, why do they want both guys back? And I guess hypothetically, what could happen is the Vikings re-sign Darnold, McCarthy wins the job, and then the Vikings trade Darnold to a quarterback-needy team during the preseason or after the preseason when a team realizes that the guy that they have playing quarterback on their roster right now sucks. Because the Vikings did that once upon a time. Back in 2016, the Vikings traded a couple of picks to the Eagles to acquire Sam Bradford. So there are quarterback trades that go down right before the regular season, and the Vikings have a past in doing that. When Teddy Bridgewater went down with that knee injury and almost lost his leg, the Vikings were practically out of QB options. So they traded some picks and acquired Sam Bradford to fill that role. That is a possibility. The Vikings could re-sign Darnold now, enter the offseason with a quote-unquote QB competition. McCarthy could win the job, and then the Vikings could trade Darnold to a quarterback-needy team that realizes that they don't have any good options entering the regular season. Because that's the last thing that you want as a team. You know, the preseason, the training camp, it's supposed to be the year and the moment of hope for every NFL organization. This could be our year. This could be our time to shine. And the last thing that an organization like that wants going into the regular season is that before any regular season games, everybody knows it's over. There's no hope. There's no chance. So there could be a trade market for Sam Darnold during that period of time if the Vikings come to an agreement with Darnold and McCarthy wins the job. Because I don't see the attractiveness for a Sam Darnold or a Jason McCarthy in having both of those guys on the roster at the same time during the regular season. Because if you're Darnold and you're going out there week 1 or week 2 and you have a moment of struggle, everybody's calling for McCarthy. And if you're McCarthy and you struggle coming out of the gates, everybody's calling for Darnold. Look what Darnold did last year, 35 touchdowns, 12 picks. What is this McCarthy guy doing in there? He's only 23 years old. We're forfeiting the season by not having Darnold out there. Or Darnold struggles. Oh, we got McCarthy. We got a 23-year-old guy. He won the national championship at Michigan. He's mature. We saw him in the preseason game. Why would any of those two players want those narratives floating around if they have one bad stretch of games? Think about what Darnold would have went through after the Jacksonville game last year if McCarthy was on the roster. What is Kevin O'Connell doing? Get McCarthy in the game. Darnold can't handle the pressure. He's melting. This is Jets and Panthers Darnold. I don't think it's a good idea for either of those players to have the other on the roster at the same time. That seems like an awful idea. Why would McCarthy or Darnold want either player breathing down their necks as soon as they make one bad throw? I wouldn't want that. And I'm sure O'Connell's going to go with the, well, we trust the player and he's not breathing down your neck. He is. It's a bunch of crap. The owners apply the pressure. The GM applies the pressure. The fans apply the pressure. When the fans are chanting McCarthy while Darnold throws a pick, that's the last thing that Darnold wants. It was actually a huge blessing for Darnold this season that McCarthy went down with an injury in the preseason, because then he had free reins throughout the regular season without any mounting pressure from a backup rookie quarterback. And there's nothing like a rookie quarterback in the NFL. Everybody wants to see him, regardless of if they're a first-round pick or a fourth-round pick. Jaron Hall last year, everybody wanted to see Jaron Hall. It was free Jaron Hall. Several years ago and way back, When Christian Ponder was struggling, everybody wanted Joe Webb, including me. Throw Joe Webb in there. Let's see what he can do. Doesn't matter if they're a first-round pick or a fifth-round pick. People are obsessed with rookie quarterbacks. And with McCarthy being the only top 10 selection in terms of a quarterback in Vikings history, that pressure just becomes mounting and mounting and mounting, becomes 10 times the pressure than it was before. So I don't fully comprehend the idea that the Vikings want both quarterbacks back. Like, why? Sounds like a terrible idea to me. So maybe they bring them back and then they trade one in the preseason or trade one in training camp when they realize who their guy is. So anyway, why do the Vikings want him back? Maybe that's why. Okay. Another story to talk about. The Minnesota Timberwolves, according to Brian Windhorst of ESPN, want to re-engage the Phoenix Suns in a Kevin Durant trade this offseason because Durant and Anthony Edwards are bros. That's what the deal is. Anytime they play each other, Anthony Edwards gushes about Durant being his favorite player. Next season, Durant has a cap hit of $54,708,600. That's his contract. So the Timberwolves would have to trade a ton of pieces, including Jaden McDaniels, because the Suns are not accepting a deal without Jaden McDaniels. That would be the cornerstone piece coming back to Phoenix if the Timberwolves want to trade for Kevin Durant and pair up Anthony Edwards and Durant. Now, everyone wants this trade to happen based on what I've been reading, what I've been seeing, and I'm going to push back against this trade. Darnold, goodness gracious, it's hard to transition from Vikings to Timberwolves. It's like, what is going on in my mind? Durant, we'll start with D. Got the double D, Durant and Darnold. Durant is 36 right now. His birthday is in September. He's going to be 37 years old next year. And Durant, in these past few seasons, yeah, he can put up numbers. 26 points a game this year, 27 last year, 26, 29, 29, 29, 26. This guy's a scoring machine. This year, he averages 18 field goal attempts a game, makes 9 of them, shoots 52%. The dude can score, flat out score. The problem with Durant is that I don't see him taking a roster and taking it to the next level. He literally has his own big three on the Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal. And they've been on the Suns for the last few years, and they can't win. The Timberwolves swept them in the playoffs last year. The Brooklyn Nets, I think they made it to almost the Eastern Conference Finals, or maybe they did one year. And then it broke apart fast. Couldn't do it with Harden, Kyrie, and Durant. The only situation that worked for Durant was when Steph Curry, a naturally born leader, was the leader in the locker room. A guy that could make it work with anybody. Durant would be stepping in with Anthony Edwards, one of the most immature superstars in the NBA. And I wouldn't even call him a superstar yet. But he's box office. People want to watch him. Durant and Anthony Edwards iso balling the entire game does not sound like a recipe for success. Why would it work with Anthony Edwards and Kevin Durant if it's not going to work with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant? You could practically swap Devin Booker and Anthony Edwards. The guys are similar players. Booker's probably even a better shooter from three-point line. And it's not working. Durant does not take rosters and take them to the next level. He joined Golden State, and Golden State took Durant to the next level, not the other way around. So I don't think it's a good idea for the Timberwolves to trade for Durant and give up multiple young pieces to acquire him. Because what has Durant done these last few years? He's an aging star that can still score, but can't win games. He's an empty stat sheet. So I don't like this idea, because how do Edwards and Durant complement each other? Luka and LeBron complement each other. Luka can score, but he's also a passing point guard, or he's not going to just stand in the corner the whole time and jack up shots in isolation. He had 12 assists last night. How would Edwards and Durant complement each other? They wouldn't. Both guys are scorers, and both guys want isolation basketball to go down. Luka, pick and roll, spread the floor, find role players in the corners, find LeBron. That works. But Durant and Edwards, here, you go take your turn. Hey, it's your turn now. You go try to score. Hey, it's your turn. That's exactly what it would look like from a Timberwolves standpoint. The Timberwolves should avoid Kevin Durant at all costs, regardless of how Anthony Edwards feels about his favorite player in the league. Because it is not good for the development of Edwards, and it is not good for the Timberwolves to be taking turns in isolation basketball. I hate this idea of Durant and Edwards on the same roster. I don't like it. I don't like it. Especially because Jaden McDaniels is finally coming out of his shell this season. He has found an offensive game. And what's been so nice about his offensive game is that McDaniels isn't jacking threes. He's getting to the rim. He's got a mid-range game. The NBA has gone away from mid-range, and I don't think it's a good idea. I think there's a lot of valuable points that come from the mid-range. Look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's going to be the MVP of the NBA this year. The dude lives and survives based off his mid-range game. And the NBA is so overly obsessive with three-point shots that the mid-range game has actually become a valuable asset to an NBA organization. So it's valuable to have McDaniels, especially if he continues this trend of scoring the basketball while also not demanding the basketball as much as a Kevin Durant would. So I don't like the idea at all. I think it would be terrible next season if the Timberwolves decided to trade for Durant. Would it be exciting to have those guys on the roster? Yes. Would it be something to watch and follow throughout the year? Yes. Would it be a big storyline? Yes. But I don't think the Timberwolves would be any better this year with Durant and without McDaniels and Randall and bench pieces. I don't think it makes any sense whatsoever. So the Timberwolves should not trade for Kevin Durant. All right, one last quick story to talk about. It's the Minnesota State High School League Hockey Tournament. One of the biggest weeks of the year. They play at Excel. The Wild play on the road. And Edina beat the Rogers Royals last night in overtime. And one of the funniest moments of the night was a picture taken by the TV, or like a camera view, showcasing Edina kids counting their cash in the stands. I feel bad for Edina at some points in times, because they're known as the cake eaters. They're known as being rich boys. And the truth is that we are all envious of the amount of money and the houses and the resources that Edina has. That's the truth. And they just get ripped and ripped and ripped over and over and over again for being these rich cake eaters that apparently is a bad thing, even though all of us do want to be rich cake eaters. So, quick story. The camera rolls over to Edina fans counting their cash, and it was absolutely hilarious. The camera crew was doing the Edina Hornets fan base and just their town no favors at all, because people are going to take that picture and run with it and make fun of them, even though it's exactly who everybody else wants to be. It's really a envious thing than anything else. So anyway, thank you for watching this episode and for making this podcast a part of your day. Hit that subscribe button wherever you're watching. Thank you for making this podcast a part of your day.